Balakrishna Brahmadam,
Here.
Austin Brown,
Here.
Julia Carson,
Here.
Michael Klein,
Here.
Shantia Cox,
Here.
Emily Crawford,
Here.
AJ Elia,
Here.
Kristen Evans,
Here.
Michael Factor, Elsa Khan,
Here.
Nicholas Latanzio,
Here.
Austin Latea,
Here.
Ellie Louisa,
Here.
Haley Lowe. Oh, I got you. Thank you. Haley
Here.
Lowe, Andrew Montgomery,
Here.
Lauren Myers,
Here.
Ashley Newton,
Here.
Dakota Obermeyer,
Here.
Kayla Slattery,
Here.
Dante Smith, Dylan Straley,
Here.
Cassidy Unger,
Here.
Mariko Vaughn,
Here.
Emily Vero,
Here.
and Stephanie Virgilito. Okay, that is all. Thanks.
Perfect. Thank you so much. I'll share the agenda to my screen after our guest speaker, but first our guest speaker. So with us today, I know we talked a little bit at the last meeting last year. Yeah, I'm gonna make a cheesy joke. Okay, we talked a little bit about Handshake and the different things we can use it for, and we kind of got you guys' input on that. Well, today we have Dr. Justin Edwards, who's the director of the Office of Career and Academic Advising. He's going to talk a little bit about his office, how he serves students, as well as a little bit about Handshake. So Dr. Edwards, you're not on my screen, but I saw you here. So.
Hey, Justin, can everyone hear me okay? Yes, I see a lot of heads shaking. Thanks for asking me to be here. Justin, before I jump in, I wanted to double check. Was there a time that you wanted me to kind of stick to for my...
Like 10 to 15 minutes is good.
That sounds good. I'll try to leave some time for questions too if anything comes up. Well, Justin, I think you had asked me just sort of to share a little bit about what we do, and then I've got a little visual aid, a little PowerPoint that'll help me out once we talk a little bit more about Handshake. But I'd like to just first and foremost give a little bit of information about how our office is here as a resource. Many of you have maybe interacted with Handshake through the lens of a job posting board, an internship posting board. Maybe you've used it to sign up for an appointment with your academic advisor or a career services specialist. But one of the great tools that we have with Handshake is using it as a really strong peer-to-peer messaging resource to help you connect with your constituents, whether it's students in your major, students in your academic college that you want to help kind of connect with and help give a voice to through the Student Government Association. So we'll talk a little bit more about that in a few minutes, kind of at that lens of a peer-to-peer messaging service as well. But first and foremost, what do we do? So I mentioned jobs and internships. So career services, whether it's Office of Career and Academic Advising or some of the really great services in the colleges like the Williamson College of Business. They've got the Center for Career Management. STEM has professional services. We're all here to help make sure that first and foremost, you're ready for that transition into the professional world, whether that transition is finding professional work after you graduate or finding internships as a sophomore, junior, and senior. We're here to help you make sure that number one, you can articulate your skills. That's so important, right? It's not just about having a resume that looks good. It's about making sure that on that resume, you can effectively articulate your skills. So a big part of that is knowing your strengths, knowing who you are as an individual, having a good sense of what you can bring into the workforce with you, or for different career competencies, if you will. So part of what our office is here to do is help with something that we call self-assessment. Many of you have maybe taken a self-assessment like an interest inventory, a personality inventory, things like that in the past. And what we do is we use those as a launching point to help you think about how you're going to fit into the world around you. One of the exercises that I really love to do, and again, Justin, you said 10, 15. I'll try to be brief here, but sometimes I can be long-winded. I want to do a quick exercise to help you understand what we do with self-assessment, how we help you or help students that might come to you as a representative in Student Government Association make a really great decision about their major and then their career. So if you've got a piece of paper and a pencil, grab that for me. We're going to do a really quick, short exercise together. 3 short steps. Avery, thank you. Whenever we need to do this exercise, I always say it's going to be really easy. I'm sure you're going to be able to accomplish step number 1. So step number 1, go ahead and write your name on that piece of paper. Really easy. I know you've got that. Whatever feels good to you, whether it's print, cursive, whatever's good. Step number 2 increases in difficulty, okay? Step number 2 is I want you to take that pen or pencil, put it in the other hand. If you're a righty, put the pen or pencil in your left hand. If you're lefty, put it in your right hand. And you can probably guess where we're going with this. Write your name again with your non-dominant hand. I give you permission to laugh at yourself. If you've got anyone in the room with you, I give them permission to laugh at you. That's okay. Now, once you complete both writing your name with your dominant hand and with your non-dominant hand, I want you to put your pencil down and just look at what you've done. Take a look at what you've done. Think about how it felt to write your name both times. I'm going to look in the chat. Give me some words that you would use to describe the way it felt the first time you wrote your name with your dominant hand. What words would you use? Natural, normal, comfortable. I see those coming from the chat. What else? Effortless, neat, easy. Yeah, absolutely. These are good words. And why is it all of these things? It's all of these things because it's sort of part of who you are, right? When you were 2 or 1 or however old, someone gave you a crayon and said, go for it. Draw something on the page. You didn't really think about it. You just went with what felt good. Yeah. Now, what are some words you would use to describe the second time you wrote your hand, or you wrote your hand? Let me say that again. What would some words be to describe the second time you wrote your name with your non-dominant hand? So words for the second time. Yeah, I see a lot of good words coming through. Awkward, messy, challenging, difficult. These are good words. Now, why is it all those things? It's not part of who we are. It's not exactly what fits our strengths. Now, within our office, this is a really important analogy to the way that we use self-assessment and the way that we help students think about their major. Because here's an important question. Was everyone able to successfully write their name both times? At varying levels of penmanship, I'm sure. But yeah, you were, right? And I think, if constituents, if students come to you, underclassmen come to you, and they're asking questions about maybe their major or what they might want to do, they wouldn't be here at YSU if we didn't firmly believe that they could be successful in any major that they selected. Same with you. Each of you can be successful in any major that you select. However, what we know is that some majors are going to feel more like your dominant hand, and some majors are going to feel more like your non-dominant hand. That's fair to say. I'm a 2-time YSU grad. When I started my time at YSU, I was a pre-med major. Spent about 2 years doing that before I realized, nope, I don't want to be in a hospital. That's not the right track for me, right? Was that a problem? I mean, it was a problem for me, like in that microcosm of that moment, but I was able to pivot and find a career that I was excited about, right? So if you've ever got students that come to you through Student Government Association, and they're talking about their career decision, their major decision, and how they can better invest in their own decision-making process, our office is here to help. Again, we're not here to tell students ever what they can or cannot do, right? Self-assessments, and the whole point of this activity is that none of these tools will ever tell a student what they can or cannot be successful in. What they're here to do is help students think about their dominant hand, right? And those dominant strengths that they can take into the workforce with them. We really believe, and we've got some good statistics that show when students take that time to invest in their decision making, they're going to stick with their major in a great way. So let's talk a little bit more about Handshake and how we might be able to use that as a really robust tool. I think I'm ready to share. I think Avery, yeah, it looks like I can share my screen. Let me see. I think we're sharing. Can I get a thumbs up if you can see the screen? All right, thank you. So again, many of you have maybe used Handshake as a tool to look for jobs or internships. I want to talk a little bit about how it can be a tool to connect with your peers. So big picture, here's some of the things that Handshake is on campus for. Number one, to help you get hired, jobs, internships. Those are absolutely there. Maybe some of you have done that for internships already. Number two, we talk about getting discovered. You can message employers, connect with employers. We're going to focus on number three here. How can we use it to get connected, not just with employers, but with your peers? And number four, all being in one place. We like to talk about how not just jobs and internships are here, but you can get resume reviews through this service. You can get feedback on your cover letter, at kind of a one-stop shop for everything that you might need surrounding career services. Really briefly within Handshake, all the Fortune 500 companies are in there, a little over 400,000 employers in that system now. So it's both a YSU network, but they also have an open network similar to like a LinkedIn. So that's something that you have access to through Youngstown State University. Not only full-time positions and internships, but a really robust set of part-time opportunities as well. I think there's sometimes a misconception that you're only looking for internships and full-time work. In Handshake, that's just not the case. A lot of part-time opportunities available to help students while they're in school. But here's what I want to talk about, kind of getting discovered. What Handshake tends to find is that students who complete their profile, so we're kind of in the middle on the left-hand side, with a full profile, they're about 5 times as likely to be messaged. So what does this mean, be messaged? That means we kind of get reached out to from employers, but also I think one of the really great ways that we might be able to leverage this with Student Government Association is if you have a public profile that you've filled out on Handshake, you can use that as a way for other students in your college that you represent to find you, to get to know you a little bit, to see what you've done on campus, hopefully to see all the robust and kind of diverse ways that you've interacted with YSU. So number one, even if they're just looking at your public profile, they're maybe being a bit inspired to see what they could do. But also, if you got that public profile and they see some common interest, they might be able to connect with you and reach out to you through this platform. Another great part about the connection is students can leave reviews on companies. So you can see if other YSU students have internships at a specific company, if reviews are there. It's a really great feature to kind of vet out employers and interns that you might want to pursue. You can also do a Q&A with Handshake, which is a dynamic way to ask a question to the community, if you will. So students and alumni can use this as a service to say, hey, I'm looking for jobs in Florida related to marketing. Does anyone know of any good LinkedIn groups? Like questions like that would be a really great way to engage with the Q&A. And then the last thing, and I'm going to kind of fast track to a Q&A just for our room for any questions you might have for me. But I wanted to give you a sense of what this peer messaging service looked like through Handshake. So again, this is an open network. YSU, as a YSU student, you've got full access to this peer messaging service. And again, you can use this as a tool to reach out to students in the colleges you represent. They can use this as a tool to reach out to you. We could even maybe use this as a tool to post office hours or events or things of that nature that you might want to make sure that students are able to see within the different colleges that you're representing. So that peer messaging service, again, looks like any other messaging service that you might expect to see, but a big part of that is making sure that you have a public profile and a resume uploaded to that public profile, and then some experiences that are propagated within that service. So we're here to help you with that. We're here to help you build that online presence. And if we've learned anything in 2021, well, in 2020 and now into 2021, or as I call it, maybe 2020 part 2, whatever we're in right now, whatever year it is. If we've learned anything over the past 10 months, it's that the social presence, your online presence, is going to be more necessary than ever as you go into the job search, whether it's video chat interviews, phone interviews. This digital world has become more a part of the job search than ever. So I'm going to pause there and just see what questions you have and see if you have any specific questions about some of the handshake messaging software or just anything that we do as an office.
Any questions for Dr. Edwards? Josie? I had one question relating to kind of how student government can utilize it, like kind of how we were talking about, and you mentioned it today about like reaching out to constituents and different things like that. One of the things that we talked about when we brought up Handshake before was kind of certain colleges use it as part of their advising and stuff, and so naturally there's a lot more students on it in those colleges. What colleges specifically are ones that you see a lot less students enrolled? And I guess how can we kind of advertise it and get that out to students so that we can start using it as more of like an outreach type thing?
Yeah, so I mean, I think there's kind of two layers that I'll attack that with. I mean, you've got one question about like using it for appointments. And then I think the second layer is just usage, right? Because some of the academic colleges are using it for advising appointments. Academic colleges, STEM, business, liberal arts, creative arts, the education group. It's available for professional preparation, resume appointments, mock interviews, things like that. Now, it's certainly available to everyone on campus, no matter which college, but I think maybe the root of your question is getting to how can we make sure more students are using it for maybe things other than finding a job, because if we have them using it earlier, the likelihood of them using it for internships and jobs probably increases. Like that's sort of what I hear in part of your question. So I think one way that we can try to use it more broadly is, again, as a peer messaging service for issues related to the Student Government Association, right? If you're a rep for the Cliff College and you put out a call to say, this is my public profile on Handshake, if you're interested in sharing ideas to take to Student Government Association, that would be a really appropriate place to send me a message to let me know some ideas. I think the peer messaging is a really great way to do that. I think eventually, and I don't think I'm speaking too out of turn, I'd love to see it used for all student employment on campus as well. I don't have any announcement or definitive pathway to say that we're going to make that happen. But that's something that I've been investigating and trying to explore further, because if you're expected to use it to find an internship as a junior or a senior, and then professional job after you graduate as an alumni, I think it makes sense as a first-year student or a second-year student to use it as your tool to find student employment. So any advocacy related to kind of streamlining student employment postings, and they are on the HR system right now, but this might be a more linear pathway for student development if we look at it as a student development tool as well.
And I think the kind of difficult part with, involving and kind of making Handshake a permanent thing is that a lot of students don't know that they already have an account. It's just all about setting it up and logging in with your YSU information. So that is definitely an aspect that student government can help out with, as well as, having us already be enrolled so that, it's feasible for office hours for us. So totally like that. Well, thank you, Justin, for coming to speak. If there's no other questions, I will move on, but Justin's contact information is on the last page of the agenda. So feel free to reach out with questions and things like that.
Great to see everyone. Have a great rest of the first day of the semester here.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Perfect. Okay. With that, let me see if I can. Perfect. Okay. With that, we'll move into the approval of the minutes and agenda. I look favorably upon a motion to approve the minutes and agenda.
Motion to approve minutes and agenda.
Thank you. Motion,
Second.
Julia. Second.
Second.
Emily? Perfect. Thank you so much. We'll move right into executive business. We really don't have too much today, so we won't keep you too long. But the first thing I want to announce is Tuesday Tea Time Podcast, a little update on that. So we're going into the swing of things of having kind of it posted every week on Tuesdays. Tomorrow, our President Trussell interview will be up, where I lost a bet on the Steelers and Browns game, so I had to bring him coffee this morning. But that episode will be up tomorrow. Please go take a listen. We even had a special edition that was posted Thursday regarding the events at the Capitol building. So we talked a little bit about that. But yeah, that'll be posted tomorrow and then every week after that on Tuesday. Avery?
So our Multicultural Buddies program is now rolled out. Some of you are enrolled in it currently as domestic students. And then we have 13 students involved in the program. Definitely trying to keep it small just to see how it plans out and how it works out. But so far, so great, so good. We had our first meeting last Friday. That went pretty well. But we have 5 domestic students, and then I believe we have 10 international students that are also very excited to be involved in this. So if you still are interested in kind of joining it and being a part of it, email me, let me know. I will definitely try to get you involved somehow and set you up with a buddy as well. But so far, so good. I'm very excited about it. So I guess I can do this too. So the next thing is our student government retreat and diversity workshop. So you may have noticed already in band, if you've been on there before school started, that I put some holds in for February 5th and 6th. Those are kind of the dates that we're looking for, which I believe they're Friday and Saturday, but those are kind of the dates that we're looking for the SGA retreat and the diversity workshop. Primarily the retreat being on the 5th, I believe from 1 to 3. That is kind of the tentative time, but we may change that due to people's availability. And for Saturday, we're looking at 9 to 12. So that will give you the kind of the rest of the day to have free. That is pretty much it. So back to Justin.
And then please, so those dates would be, since it's a retreat and our diversity workshop, those 2 will be mandatory. So please make sure to reach out to us if you have some severe like scheduling conflicts with that, like classes or different things like that. So we can know ahead of time, and if we have a lot of students, we can move it around. But please make sure to reach out to us soon, so that way we're not scrambling at the last minute. Other than that, we do have some vacancies due to scheduling. And so I actually, this morning, have some more updates with that. So we have 3 CCCA seats open, which is the entire college. That's we're gonna make sure to fill those ASAP so that college can be represented on student government, because as it stands right now, this morning, we do not have any CCCA representatives. BCHHS, I have 2 seats open. This morning, we also had a graduate student that had a scheduling conflict and a WCBA student that had a scheduling conflict with classes. So we're going to be working to fill those ASAP. Hopefully by next body meeting, we'll try to have at least most of those filled. But if not, definitely by the 15th or the 8th rather. But yeah, so those applications will be going out to those colleges as soon as possible. And then Avery, you can do Leadership Summit, and then I'll do number 6.
So the Leadership Summit, like just listed, was a success. It did go well, at least our portion did, I feel. And we, this time kind of made it a little bit different. We gave the student or leaders the opportunity to tell us kind of what are some issues that they're running into when it comes to planning events and asking for funding. Some of it mostly was that they really just didn't know how to go about planning virtual events or how to keep their members kind of engaged throughout the whole semester. So I definitely will encourage the PR committee and the student life committee to kind of figure out some way to have virtual events kind of planned out for them so that we could help in that regard. Other than that, I think the other reason was that they really kind of didn't know what things they could use funding for. So a lot of them kind of didn't know about equipment fees, but obviously that's just for the summer. But those little things like that are maybe some ways that we can inform them that yes, you're still able to have events as long as they're, approved by the protocol that the institution and the state kind of mandated, and that yes, you can still apply for funding for certain things. So it's just helping them know that and continue to advertise that we have this money, so please use it.
And then I also put a link in the chat box that, one of the cool things about having it virtual is it was recorded. So all of the sessions are recorded. Like Avery said, we talked about the stuff he spoke about, but we also had a session led by AJ and Kennedy talking about those surveys we sent out, as well as, like you said, the SGA funding presentation by Jeff. So all those recordings are online at that link. The next thing is we hosted with Dr. Kaufman, some of the representatives, myself, Kennedy, and a couple other people, hosted a What We Wish Faculty Knew with a lot of faculty attended. It was the highest registered part of their event. And we got a lot of awesome questions. And we expressed a lot of concerns we were hearing from students about like the remote delivery and different things like that. So hopefully there was a lot of discussion, a lot of faculty really willing to make some edits for the semester. We had a pretty good discussion on like proctored exams versus lockdown browser and different things like that. So yeah, and then the last thing is Faith is our new Vice President for Public Relations. So congratulations, Faith. I don't know if you're on here. I know you're here somewhere. I just can't see you, but congratulations.
Thank you.
There she is. So she'll be leading the Public Relations Committee and the committee. If you have any questions about PR or SGA as a whole, you can reach out to Faith. And then also, I mean, congratulations to Danya, who isn't here right now, but she accepted an internship for the semester. So if you want to send her congratulations, that'd be great. That concludes the President, Executive Vice President report. Since it's the beginning of the new semester, we didn't have really too many reports from the committees. However, I'm going to give the opportunity to each of the vice presidents and then the parliamentarian and chief of staff, if you guys have anything to add about what to expect this semester and where you guys are going to be prioritizing with your committees. So we'll start with Kennedy, Vice President for, well, we'll start with Kennedy. I'm going out of order. I'm sorry. I just, Vice President for Assessment Enrichment.
Hi, everyone. Okay, so I don't have a lot to talk about right now. The main thing that my committee is the two main things that my committee is going to be focusing on is the continued support and stocking of the pantry. And kind of going hand in hand with that, before we broke for winter break, we tossed around the idea of trying to implement a program called Swipe Out Hunger, which is where students and staff and faculty, anyone who has a meal plan on campus, is able to donate unused meal swipes to students in need. And so that is kind of a collaboration between dining services and then student government, and then potentially like student outreach and support. So right now we are just kind of focused on gathering data and putting together a proposal. And then we'll be moving forward with that in the next couple of weeks. And hopefully, if all goes well, we can have that program implemented by the end of this semester so that students who suffer from food insecurity have another option to receive full meals as opposed to kind of like the supplemental things that we offer at the pantry. So that's the plan.
Perfect, thank you. And then we'll move to Jeff, Vice President for Financial Affairs, and I'll pull up your report.
Okay, thanks, Justin. Yeah, so just to kind of recap where we're at, I guess. So last semester at the general fund, we used about $6,000, not quite 6,000, around 5,000 rather. And then from the new student org fund, we used about $400. We still have a large sum of money outstanding. So something that, my committee is definitely going to be looking at is, all right, how can we use these funds according to the financial path, but try to, I guess, advertise it, get it out to student organizations the best we can, because any money that's not used just goes back to the university. So we want to obviously be able to use as much as we can to assist organizations in hosting safe events and, you know, promoting growth and things like that among our student organizations, university programs, things like that. I know one thing that we're definitely kind of working on that we kind of narrowed down was, you know, financial literacy and things like that among, you know, first-year students and just in college in general. And I'm kind of in the process where waiting kind of for the meeting to happen where they're kind of creating a textbook for the YSU 1500 courses, and they want to include financial literacy in the textbook. So it's something that's taught in those courses. So I'm kind of on the committee, and that I'll be in the meeting just kind of hearing about what they want to include in that textbook and voicing my thoughts on that. So that's moving along with that. We're kind of waiting for the higher ups to get the textbook stuff together, but just a little bit of an update there. Other than that, I think that's all. Thanks, Justin.
No problem, thank you. Okay, and then we'll move to the Vice President for Student Life, Tess.
Hello. Okay, so as this year approaches, we're definitely going to be working on elections a lot. That's one of our main focuses, and up until, you know, the first week of April, until everything ends, we're going to be working on things throughout the next couple months. And then during that time, our two main events we're going to be working on is the Pride event, again, that was postponed. So whether that's going to be virtual or in person, hopefully someone in person, we could hope. We're still going to make it work either way. You know, it's not going to be postponed, obviously. We're going to make it happen, even if it has to be virtual. As well as the Whose Line Is It Anyway, that improv comedy group, whether they have to be virtual or coming here, we will make it work either way. But yep, just a few things going on, and our two main things, or three main things, are elections and those two events. So just what we'll be going for.
Perfect, thank you. And then I'm going to be putting Faith on the spot because I don't think I told her that she'd be speaking. But Faith, do you have anything for Public Relations Committee?
Yes, so I actually made a little goals doc just in case this happened. So I wanted to focus on increasing engagement on Instagram and Facebook, especially because I noticed that we had kind of a low engagement on our accounts on those platforms. So we're going to be focusing our energy there and promoting whatever we're going to be doing in SGA this semester. So I wanted to increase the amount of times that we're posting on there and kind of get more people engaged so that they know what SGA offers.
Perfect, thank you so much. With that, we'll go ahead and move into, we don't have any unfinished business, so we can go ahead and move into new business. Avery, did you want to talk a little bit about the retreat and diversity workshop? I know we kind of mentioned it in a report. You're muted.
I just literally got the notification that says you're muted, please unmute yourself. But I have been really focusing on the diversity workshop, so I'll speak on that and then I'll let Justin speak on the retreat. So Saturday, February 6th at 9 to 12 o'clock. So this is how generally the day will go. I'm still working out the fine details, but there will be 3 different kind of presentations going on all at the same time, and then we'll rotate. So all of you will be broken up, including myself and Justin, we're broken out into small groups, 3 small groups, and then separated based on the title of those workshops. So one workshop seminar kind of presentation will be about how diversity is assessed on a university base. So it'll be Dr. Kaufman and Hillary Furman kind of giving you the numbers behind the NESI data and the graduation rates of different minority groups and kind of how they feel at YSU and the campus. So that will be one session going on. The second session will be like up on what is diversity. And so that will kind of be led by Brenda Scott and Carol Bennett over at the Diversity and Inclusion Office. So that will really be a discussion-based kind of conversation, really driven by what you guys talk about and how you view diversity. And then the final thing will be on safe zone training. So all of you will, by the end of the day, will receive a certificate for safe zone training and be safe zone certified. And that will be led by Dr. Carrie Jackson. So all three of those, well, all 5 of those wonderful women will be presenting at our diversity workshop, and we'll be leading you through all of those presentations. And like I said, it will be, each session should be last about an hour, so we'll be done by 12, maybe 12:15. But that will be how the day will be ran. And so I'm hoping that all of you will be able to attend and be present and be participants. So that is that. That will be the diversity workshop. Let's see, you want to talk about the retreat? Well, I guess any questions before I move on that and like, okay, cool.
I'm gonna go ahead and put real quick February 5th and February 6th, 9 a.m. to 12. So those are the 2 dates. Oh, I sent them to Avery privately, sorry. But those will be the 2 dates that these will take place. And so, like I said, please reach out to us if there's any scheduling conflicts as soon as possible, so that we can try to figure something out. But the retreat, Avery and I talked about this a little bit, and what we kind of want to do is moving forward with student government, so future administrations, is kind of having a the fall retreat focusing a lot on the kind of like, what is SGA? What are you as representatives? What are you tasked to do? How to best represent your constituents, as well as a little bit of like a bonding thing. So kind of bringing everybody together so that way you can rely on other people within student government, and you don't feel like these are all strangers. Obviously, it's a little bit harder within a virtual format. So, but yeah, that would be the goal moving forward. And then the spring semester one would be like, okay, you know what student government is, you know kind of the ins and outs. So now really driving home those rep-led initiatives and stuff, and kind of like how to introduce those initiatives and see them to the end. So that's something that we want to do moving forward. So the retreat this year is going to focus on kind of a little bit of both of those, but really a little bit, a lot different than the first fall retreat we had. So don't expect just a repeat of that. We're really going to be adding a lot of new information and making sure, kind of hearing from you guys. So please mark those dates. And with that, kind of, do you guys have any questions? We can open the floor to discussion if anybody has any questions. Oh, I'm good, thank you. Any questions?
Do either of those 2 events count towards constituency hours for reps?
Right. So what we were going to do is we can count the February 6th diversity workshop as constituency hours, and the retreat would be just like we normally would have a retreat. Since that's something we added for the second semester, February 6th from 9 to 12 will count as constituency representative hours. Which, by the way, so if I'm confusing you guys when I use constituency and representative hours, we are sticking with the term representative hours moving forward. But just know if I slip up at all, they're the same thing. They're not 2 separate things. Sorry. Any other questions about the retreat or diversity workshop? And then you can email me separately as far as if you have class during that time or something along those lines. Okay, perfect. With that, we'll move into rep hours. So rep hours, we talked about, and I don't, now I say representative hours, but really what I meant there was kind of those hours where we were talking about where students can kind of talk to the representatives. And we were looking at the possibility of utilizing Handshake in that way. So those like almost representative office hours, or those drop-in hours, or the things we were talking about before. What are your guys' thoughts on using Handshake to kind of do that? Because we would have to do that pretty much virtually in some way, but using Handshake as like really marketing you guys as like, if you have any concerns, you can come to your college representative through Handshake. Any ideas there?
This is, oh,
You can go, whoever's
Okay.
going.
I was just going to say that I think it depends on the college you're in, which I think is the issue we keep running into. So I'm from B Classy, but like as a carryover class major, we never used Handshake for anything. We didn't use it to schedule our advising appointments. So I think that there would be a lot of students who kind of just get lost in the shuffle if they have questions. And like, I think it would be different with any of the colleges on campus that use Handshake frequently. But for students and constituency like mine, I'm not sure that that would be the best way to get the word out about the representative hour.
Yeah, I agree with AJ. That's exactly what I was gonna say. Like, I know that class and Beakley don't really use it, so that's what I was sort of concerned about.
So to provide like a little bit of context, Justin actually met with exec last semester to talk about kind of adapting Handshake university-wide. And so he approached us with the thought of like, how can we get students on Handshake campus-wide? So this initiative to kind of like drive students to Handshake by having SGA already on Handshake and then kind of like encouraging students to reach out to us on Handshake is kind of a way, one, to help us connect with students, but also to make Handshake a more effective place to be. The reason that he wants to do that is because he kind of mentioned it in the presentation today, that he wanted it to kind of be a way for students to find employment on campus. And then obviously he works in career and academic advising. So he wants that a way for students to utilize that beyond graduation and beyond, finding internships and things like that. So I really feel as it being beneficial to student government is also kind of us helping out at a department in a way for advertising Handshake.
I think I just thought of something, a way that we could get like to make Handshake more university wide. I mean, it wouldn't be like an instant sort of change, but it would improve over time. In the first year classes, at least in Intro to Honors, we had to make a LinkedIn account. So maybe include that as a part of the first year curriculum to have the students access Handshake, and then they'll know what it is. That might work.
Great idea. That's a good idea.
Yeah, that's actually something that I was going to say as well, because I know that as like a STEM major, the only reason why I even knew about Handshake was because of the internship office and a lot of the people in the STEM college that came to us for the internship fair and things like that. So that definitely might bring awareness to what it is and more even though like than how to use it, because some people just really don't even know that the platform exists.
Right. Yeah. And I think kind of definitely if we were to move forward with having Handshake be kind of a way to reach representatives, paired with that would definitely like marketing Handshake. So I'm even thinking like, and this just kind of came to me, was even using as like a contact method. We have your emails and stuff on the website, but including a link to your Handshake profile where they can message you might be a little bit, kind of a way to get them kind of on Handshake. But there's a lot of benefits to Handshake. And so I think that, yeah, definitely if we're looking at doing this, it would be paired with kind of a marketing initiative within student government to get students on Handshake.
Now, I'm going to say this. While if we all feel that like Handshake is not going to be beneficial for us right now and the student body at all, like this is definitely something that we don't have to do. So like I don't feel like we have to like make a Handshake out and like make students get Handshake. But what we do have to do is somehow bridge this distance that we have between SGA and the student body, because we are virtual and so we don't get to see everyone that we would like to see. So we need to figure out a way that we're able to contact students that is accessible and feasible for everyone. So really that is kind of what we're talking about today now.
I don't think it would be a bad idea if in the beginning we started off with Handshake and also marketing it as we went, but included another platform that students may already understand and have access to, so that if for whatever reason they are not in the mindset, I suppose, to like create an account on Handshake, that they can still access us. And I know that we have like our emails and stuff listed, but if we wanted something else for like maybe the first couple of months even of doing it, so that there was like a fallback method that students could utilize until we had marketing materials out there And even if I don't know if I want to say like SGA would host them, or if we would co-sponsor some sort of like an event where we could give more information on Handshake and allow students to ask us questions, so that if they were concerned or confused or whatever, like we could kind of answer whatever they were curious about, and then shift to like a completely Handshake driven platform, I guess.
I agree with Kennedy, but I also think that a lot of people are expected to use a bunch of new technology over the past few months. And so asking them to do one more thing might just be the reason that they don't ask for help. So I think slowly introducing Handshake would be the way to go.
I think
I
another
agree with
thing.
Emily. Oh, sorry.
No, okay, I'm sorry. I was just gonna say, I also agree with Emily in that sense. I really like the idea of utilizing Handshake and like slowly moving that in. And I think maybe if we could, broadcast that on a smaller platform that, people already have, whether it's just by a quick email we could post on our social media, or just any way to kind of ease into students our ideas and then just go from there.
I agree with them, but I think that like if you're going to like encourage Handshake, I think that maybe there should be like a webinar or something just to that you can get students familiar with like what and how to use.
I agree, yeah.
And I was thinking how we have on our Instagram, on our highlights, how we have the meet the representatives and everything like that. We can add on there that you can contact us on Handshake. So then if people are ever looking for who their rep is, they see directly, like in a place other than the website, a way to contact us on there.
Well, I motion to vote on using Handshake or not using Handshake.
We need a second.
Second.
I'll second it.
So we'll go ahead and kind of see where everybody sits there. I'll go ahead. I'm just going to name it Handshake question mark for the sake of time, and then I will release that. And my hope is that it will launch. Okay. Okay. And of course, this would be along with the things we talked about. So helping students get on Handshake and different things like that. Okay. So we got enough people voted. All right. So we have 88%. I will share results. Okay. We have 88% said yes, 12% said no. So we'll go ahead and start utilizing that. And working kind of first step would be, of course, to get people on Handshake. But with that, we ask that you you make a public Handshake profile, preferably before the next committee meeting if you're able to. I know it's the first week of class, so you might be busy, but try to have it done by January 25th. Oh, well, you'll have another week because there'll be that following week will be MLK Day, so that Monday will be off. So that, yeah, have it done by January 25th if you're able to. If you have any trouble, reach out to me or Dr. Edwards, but I can help troubleshoot any issues. So that'll be the first step. The second step would be trying to get students on Handshake. So we can work with Dr. Edwards to kind of host these webinars or kind of like onboarding, Zoom calls to kind of get people on Handshake. And then I do want to preface all of this with, this won't replace the regular modes of like just getting information to reps. So if they want to email you, the emails will still be provided on our website, different things like that, but just as another avenue for students to contact you. And yeah, so that sounds good. And I will get on the working with Dr. Edwards and reaching out to him. So I'll meet with him to kind of decide where we go with advertising it. That is all I had for rep hours. Is there any other comments or questions about that? Perfect. Okay, so moving on to elections. Elections are coming up. One thing I do want to say, and I'm not sure if I said it last time we talked about elections, is that every position on student government, if you want to continue on student government, needs to be reelected. So by virtue of you just being a BCHHS rep this year, you have to run an election to be it next year, if that makes sense. Any questions about the elections process will be directed towards Tess Emerson or Michael Haney. And so all that information would be published. But right now, Tess and Elsa will be meeting soon to kind of go over finalizing that elections calendar through the Student Life Committee, and then it will be published. But something Avery and I wanted to do this year was include a SGA question and answer session before the election stuff starts rolling out, so students know what student government is before they decide to run for it, if that makes sense, especially freshmen going into their sophomore years. But yeah, so that's something we're looking at. The dates for tentatively, we're looking at, I think it was April 4th and 5th for the election days. So plan around kind of that. The petitions and stuff will come out earlier, but 4th and 5th will have to be approved by the 4th and 5th will be the election dates, but the overall calendar will be approved by the Student Life Committee at their next meeting. So I don't know if Tess, do you have anything else to add, or Avery as well?
In addition to that, the petition is really kind of not a petition, more of a declaration for candidacy. So it's really just all of you filling out the information of what you want to run for, and making sure that you are clarifying that you have the qualifications to do so. So no more signatures this semester, just you declaring what you're running for,
Right.
making sure that you're eligible to do so.
Yeah, and that'll all be done through a Maxient form overseen by Michael Haney. So with that, before you picked up the physical form, I'm sure some of you remember filling it out and then dropping it off to the Division of Student Experience. We won't have to do that any this year, and hopefully in the future we could just kind of stick to a Maxient form. But with the Maxient form, once you hit submit, it'll automatically go to Michael Haney. So you don't have to drop it off, especially for students that are learning remote, so they don't have to come to campus. But I have one more thing to add to that, and then Tess, I don't know if you have anything else to add, but the actual petition process is reserved for the president and vice president candidates. So that petition process will be done through a form. So that'll be made available to those candidates through our website, where they're able to get those signatures, which students would just fill out the form, kind of declaring their I don't want to say support, but it's like signing that petition for them.
Mm-hmm. And I was just going to add that I'm meeting with Michael Haney on, let's see, what is that? That is this Thursday. So any other things that we talk about, I will keep you guys updated, but we're just going to finalize everything, and I'm going to, obviously help him with anything that he may need, and any updates I will keep you guys informed.
Sounds good. Okay. With that, any questions on elections process? And I don't know if the fourth might be a Sunday. If the 4th was a Sunday, then it's 5th and 6th. I'm sorry, it's Monday and Tuesday. But yeah, okay. Seeing none of those, any announcements? Okay, none there. Gallery marks, don't believe we have any in the gallery today. I'll pause. Okay. Advisory marks. I don't know if Erin was dealing with something, so she might have had to step away, but.
I'm here.
Oh, perfect. Yes.
Hi, I just wanted to say welcome back, everybody. I'm quarantining at my apartment right now, so it's really weird not to be on campus the first day, but it's good to have all of you back. I want to say thank you to Justin and Avery and Kennedy and all the folks who worked through winter break, making sure the Penguin Pantry was up and running and really helping the students that were here and needed a little extra support. So thanks to all of you for doing that. Hopefully everybody saw the Pulse that came out today. We do have some programs going on this week. It's the Jambar's 90th birthday this week, so that's kind of a fun thing to celebrate. There's a Penguin Nights virtual bingo happening with some great hosts from what I hear on Friday night. So sign up for that if you haven't yet, because I'm sure it'll be quite an experience. But it's really great to have everybody back. Please let me know if there's anything I can do for you.
And Dr. Kaufman is not able to make it today, but she wanted me to pass along her thanks to all the people that participated in the What We Wish Our Faculty Knew session. She said it was a hit and we answered a lot of questions. So thank you to those people. Provost?
Yes, welcome back, everybody. We're excited for school to start. As usual, we're concerned about the safety of everyone, so please pay attention to PPE and be mindful of others. I think our campus has done a fantastic job, and our students are models for others. But we still want to continue to be mindful of that and finish strong this semester as well. Please always reach out to me if you have any concerns about anything. Always pleased to serve SGA.
Thank you so much, Provost Smith. And Dr. Cooper, I don't know if he's on pause. I don't see him. Okay. And I'm not missing any of the advisors. Okay, perfect. Sorry, it's Monday and we're coming back from school. But anyways, with that, we'll move into member remarks. And looking at the time, does anybody have, I won't call individually, but does anybody have anything they'd like to share?
This is so random, but I got my nose pierced.
Ooh.
I just felt like I should share.
Yay!
Happy New Year.
Sounds painful. I would say I would encourage all of you to listen to the podcast, and if you already are a frequent listener, tell your friends to listen. One, I think it's very informative, and I think it's super cool that the guests that we have. So continue to do that. And also, if you want to be a guest on the podcast as an SGA member, please let us know and what you want to talk about, because that'll be super fun too. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Have a great start to your first week, and good luck this spring semester.
Any other remarks?
If anyone is curious what Avery will look like as a very old granny, please come to bingo on Friday and you will see him as such.
Any other remarks? Awesome. Well, I hope you guys all have an awesome spring semester. Spring semester is always the toughest because like you have a little break and then it's like now we're back at it. But there's a lot to look forward to this semester. So hopefully we'll have a lot of breakthroughs. Hopefully numbers will go down. Fingers crossed. Speak it into existence. But you know, I have a pretty positive outlook. But other than that, good luck this semester and Happy New Year. I look favorably upon a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Okay.
Second.
Your motion, Kennedy.
Right. I was like, y'all want to stay? Y'all can stay.
Right. Oh, yeah, I'm leaving. I actually have Dr. Edwards, Justin Edwards for class after this, so I have to go. But meeting is adjourned. Have a great day. Have a great week. See you guys.